afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Homestead Miami Speedway as it plays host to race number 6 of season 57 of the RTG Barebones Racing Series. 94 laps on tap here tonight for these drivers at this very warm and rather humid mile-and-a-half racetrack. It'll be interesting to see what type of grip these drivers will have. Should be a little bit slick out there. I'm Seth Cole, being joined by a native Floridian who'll know a thing or two about this particular racetrack, Mr. Michael Norman. And Michael, we know that obviously coming into tonight, a lot of the drivers have said that middle to high line is going to be the area of the track to run to gain the most speed. With that being said, we're going to have to keep an eye on these guys as far as tire strategy, because those Goodyears, they're going to get worn in that upper groove.
Yeah, with the progressive banking that Homestead Miami Speedway has, it's no surprise that the outside lane would be the better lane to run it in the long run. But I'd keep an eye on that bottom lane. When you get fresh tires, short run, if we get one, I feel like the inside lane is going to be the way to go.
Got 31 drivers in the field here tonight. Jeff Supta picks up the second pole of the season, featuring that jack-o'-lantern number 11, the beautiful jack-o'-lantern look on the front grille and headlights of this Chevrolet. We'll see a lot of spooky cars in the field here tonight for the month of October. He'll share the front row with Sean Prime. Jeremy Jeffries, Dave Robbins going to be in row 2. Row 3, Kelly Causey, Frank Rivard, Rodney Sullins, Chuck McClure in row 4, and Ronald Lucet, Grant Wesley going to bring up the rest of the top 10. Dave Melson, Jim Gloud in row 6, Richard Martin, Andre Charest, row 7. Josh Metallic completes top 15. He'll be alongside John Godfrey. Row 9, Ron Hagelin and Jovan Anderson. Glenn Harris, Larry Ingram, they're the completion of the top 20. Robbie Nisus and Bobby Farrell were row 11, and they were the drivers that took time. You got Andre Mahjong, Cy Jones back in row 12. Andrew Miller, Terry Bombard, row 13. JT Mayhew, Dante Ricky, Doug Cady, Brian Schilling, and Bob LaChance fill out the 31-car field. As here we go. 94 laps of racing here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway. Supta chose the outside line to get maybe that good arc into turn 1.
Yeah, enjoy that Halloween-looking sponsored race car. You know, that movie comes out in about 4 days, actually. So, good little sponsor plug there.
Yes, indeed. Got Michael Myers there on the quarter panels, on the back bumper there, too, looking back at the Jägermeister number 8 of Jeremy Jeffries. And then, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. You got Puffed there on that 00 of Kelly Causey in the 3rd position.
Surprised you remember that. I feel like that was a movie you would never watch.
I actually never have seen it, but I know enough references, I guess.
Wow. This guy. I'm going to have to call a race with him.
Who are you going to call?
Somebody just came off pit road here.
I think that might have been Sean Prime, because I saw him drop down to the inside. Yeah, there he is. I saw him drop down to the inside there in the back straightaway when these drivers rolled off pit road. Remember, he was scheduled to roll off from the 2nd position, and Sean Prime coming into tonight is the only driver that has gone to victory lane twice this, or actually, correction, no, he's one of 2 drivers that have gone to victory lane twice this season. Most recent winner last week, going coast to coast pole to win at the Charlotte Roval. The other driver was Grant Wesley, and we are already under caution.
Under caution, we got 15's a lap down. The 4 is 2 laps down. Caution is out. I'm not
27
sure
of Andre Mahjong over here in turn 4. Looks like he may have just gotten that car refired.
Yeah, he looks like, oh, I see. He went into the corner, got a little too high, was in the wall, and going in the wall, he spun around. It spun around quickly. The 7-Eleven of John Godfrey.
He's got it.
He was really slow through that corner, too.
I think he had the same thing happen. I think I just saw his car step out. We'll focus on the 7-Eleven first and then drop back to the 27 and mention the fact that the high line is going to be the preferred line here tonight. So there's that kind of razor's edge, that bit of cushion of just how high you can go in the corner before that seafoam green safer barrier is going to swallow you up.
Yeah, and the same thing too. The 7-Eleven got into the wall and it slowed him down, almost spun him around. So I got the outside wall.
Now, going back to the 27 of Mahjong, he was in the wall, but do you think maybe he spun because he was also on the brakes to avoid getting into the 7-Eleven up ahead of him, because he closed in pretty quickly?
I definitely believe that
is. Look at Mahjong there. Yeah, there you see carrying a lot more speed on that safer barrier than Godfrey was. On the brakes, snaps the car around. Doesn't look like there's really going to be that much damage to the race car, but One thing we do have to remember here for the Barebones Racing Series is it is realistic damage, so the last thing you want to do is tear that race car up in the early going. Caution will be a big break, as you pointed out, for Sean Prime, going a lap down, and he should be the recipient of the free pass under this caution. I'm also noticing 2 laps down on the grid, the 4 of Brian Schilling. I believe he's been having some connection problems here near the start of the race, and that might have hindered him being able to take the green flag at the initial start. I believe he also will get a lucky dog here. I think they have 2 lucky dogs in this series, so it should put Sean Prime back on the lead lap, Brian Schilling to 1 lap down here for the upcoming restart. And we had I don't want to say a split decision, but there were a few drivers that elected to come down pit road here under this caution period. This series, as opposed to a lot of the other series that run on a weekly basis here in RTG, does not have a tire limit. So you can come down pit road, put on as many sets of tires as you want. What do you think? We're only, what, 2 green flag laps into this thing? Would fresh tires at this point in time play that much of a factor over track position?
Yeah, it's I personally would always go for the fresher tires, but I guess it really depends on how your car's set up and how it feels with those tires. You know, some cars like the loose feeling you get on new tires, while some will probably prefer to be out on old tires and warmed up tires too. So we always got to keep an eye out for possible spins if you try to take it too hard into these corners.
Give you a rundown of what the point standings look like coming into tonight's race. Of course, documented 5 races in. You got Sean Prime, a 2-time winner, Grant Wesley, a 2-time winner, Jeremy Jeffries, the other driver that's gone to victory lane, that was back at Texas. We, of course, covered that race a couple of weeks ago. Grant Wesley subsequently comes into this race the points leader. It is a tie for second between Jeff Supta, your race leader, and Jeremy Jeffries. They're 23 points back apiece. Ronald Lucet right now sits 4th. He's 32 points out. And Sean Prime, after his victory last week, he's now up to 5th. He's 33 points out. Chuck McClure right now is 6th. Dave Melson 7th. Brian Schilling in 8th. Frank Rivard is 9th. And Josh Metallic is the completion of the top 10 in the point standings coming into tonight. 49 points separating the top 10 in the point standings. That number 4 gear wrench Ford of Brian Schilling, he's going to go around and get his lap back. We should see, I think in a few moments, Sean Prime also come around. Well, maybe not. I'm actually now noticing Sean Prime has gone a 2nd lap down. I don't know if he might be sitting on pit road still. There is JT Mayhew taking some more service. Andre Charest. There's Sean Prime. Yeah, I think he's been sitting in his stall for the last couple of laps. I'm not sure what's going on with the driver. 5th in the point standings, but man, 2 wins on the season, coming in with all that momentum from the Charlotte Roval, and some trouble out of the gate here for driver number 15. And again, that's someone that was scheduled to roll off from the outside of the front row, so even up to the gridding point, still had the momentum on his side.
Getting doubled up here, must be getting close to a restart. Yep, we are. Let's see if the outside lane will pay dividends for the 11 car this time.
Did on the initial start of the race. They're going to go up there again. And again, I can only assume that he's up there for 2 reasons. Number 1, gives you that nice higher arc into the corner. And secondly, you know, we saw everybody for the most part migrate to the middle of the top side. So if you're up there on the top side, you've already got the preferred line you want going into turn 1. He will be the control car with pace car hitting pit road, and we are back underway here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Supta's going to get clear for the top spot.
The 96 Dave really held back there.
Double wide, looking 3 wide there, back around the 9th position. Oh, look at Frank Rivard, let that 35 slide right up there. Almost, I think he did get the wall, and now they're all kind of bouncing off the wall, stacked up there. When Rivard threw that kind of slide job on Dave Robinson, the 96, they all make it through, but that was a bit of a nail biter right there. Oh, we got a spinner! Chuck McClure right in the middle of the pack on the front straightaway. And this is going to be a big one. Caution is immediately out. Saw Rodney Sullins get a big piece of that. correction, that's actually Dave Melson in the 38.
I said, the people on fresh tires, some people on old tires, and that was just a product. I think he had to get out of the. He got a little loose off the corner.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
He got hard on the brakes there, feeling that back end coming around, I'm pretty sure. And we're going to have to take a couple of angles here to see all of who was involved, because Homestead's got that steel guardrail, that Armco barrier there between pit road and the racetrack, and it just completely blockaded up the entire racetrack. Go back and take a look. Bear in mind too, realistic damage. So a lot of these drivers now, with the hits that I saw, they're going to be somewhat off the pace, I think, on these upcoming restarts. Looks like Bob LaChance, the 51, got some pretty good damage out of this also. Now watch how this all culminates. Now, when we bring this replay up, watch the left side of your screen. Jim Cloud in the 72. He's going to get his left sides down the apron, pushes up the track. I don't know, does this 17 gets loose? There's no doubt about that, but does that snap around take place in him reacting to the 72 of Jim Cloud coming up off the apron? Take another look at it here. Watch at the exact time that the 72 is coming up the racetrack is when the 17 snaps around, and we'll try and see if we can now document all the drivers involved. Jovan Anderson got a piece, Andrew Miller, Dave Melson, Ron Hagelin, Bobby Farrell. 43, I think, up there that got a piece of it. Richard Martin. Take another look.
Yeah, some very interesting.
I think Terry Bombard got a piece. Dante Ricky got a little bit of it. Here's where Terry gets a bit of it. Doug Cady was in it. Two drivers, very heads up to just get on the brakes and stop. I think Glenn Harris, John Godfrey, Andre Mahjong, they were all able to slow, didn't get hit, so they were all able to get through without any incident, any contact, any damage sustained. But boy, only 10 laps in and we've already got at least a half dozen, if not more, drivers that have sustained some damage here. And you know, if we had run this race green flag the entirety of the way, we'd be looking at pretty much a two-stop race. We know the fuel window between 32 to 35 laps, so these drivers would have been able to make it on just 2 green flag pit stops. Fuel-wise, probably would have been screaming for tires a lot sooner than that, but now...
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
But now with these 2 early cautions, I mean, just how much of a monkey wrench does that throw into pit strategy?
Well, you know, it's unpredictable. You know, they figured that the more cautions that come out, the more of a chance you have at saving fuel. That's one thing. But you can't really save tires, if that makes sense, under yellow. So, yeah, the yellow flags are great for fuel, but you're still going to want those tires eventually. So it could turn a 2-stop race into a 4 or 5, 6-stop race just for tires alone.
Got 3 drivers that have yet to come to pit lane. That's for the entirety of this race so far, for these first 11 laps. And they're right now your top 3. Frank Rivard will be the one to lead us back to green. Jovan Anderson in second. And Josh Metallic in third. Pretty much most of the field, including the race leaders, came down pit lane under this yellow. So Jeff Supta, who won the battle off pit lane, he will be in fourth for this restart. Kelly Causey fifth. Jim Cloud, Dave Robbins, Andrew Miller, Chuck McClure, and Jeremy Jeffries. They are slated to be the completion of the top 10.
Well, Chuck McClure is missing a vital piece of his race car now. Still got a spoiler, but he has no back end.
How much, we saw him already getting loose off of turn 4. Is that going to affect the handling of that race car, especially off the corner, the remainder of this thing, or the fact that the spoiler's intact, does that not really affect the handling of the car?
Honestly, when you tell you, Seth, me and you have both raced these kinds of cars before, especially when that's happened, and I feel like maybe the 17 will be just a little bit looser.
That caution, well, these two cautions really helped out Brian Schilling because now he is back on the lead lap. You also saw Sean Prime there go around. Those were the two drivers, first two drivers, one lap down, really the only two drivers that were off the lead lap. So Schilling back in the lead lap. Sean Prime, I believe, is now going to be 4 laps down. When we get ready to go back green, they'll be hoping for a few more yellows to get him back on the lead lap. So we gave you the top 10. A couple of drivers that are quite a ways back in the field, spent a little bit of extra time on pit lane getting damage repaired. Bob LaChance, Terry Bombard, as well as the 92 Bobby Farrell, and the 17 of Chuck McClure. They all are going to be restarting outside of the top 15, so we will wait and see. They're going to be able to work their way back up to the front. Also going to be interesting to see if they are up to speed, because there were a lot of shots that were taken with the front end of race cars, the left and right fronts of certain machines getting through that wreck, as Frank Rivard going to lead us down. Green flag back in the air. Looks like both lines were ready to go. Jovan Anderson sticking right there with the 35, and he might have the preferred line here into 1 and 2.
Oh, there's a big wreck on the back again.
Caution's going to fly once again. That's Larry Ingram in the 028. Flure's going through the grass here. This is, I believe, on the 1 and 2. Yeah.
Oh, we had a flip to the 27. Andre Mahjong. He, I guess he missed a shift or didn't shift or something, and he just ran into from behind.
And it's, oh, there he is. Cars come to a stop. I believe that's down on the access road in turn 1.
Oh, he might have blown a gear.
Trying to refire it.
I think he might have blown a gear. Telemetry shows him shifting from 3rd to 4th and then nothing. Like nothing, as in like you can hear his engine revving, like he popped a gear.
Take a look here and see. Andre Mahjong already with some issues here tonight. His spin, the first caution of the evening, and definitely some black smoke erupting from underneath that 27 after the flip. We'll take a look at it here. Was 25th on this restart. 28 behind him did not get going. And you see it right there. Yep, I think you're absolutely right. Might have blown that 4th gear, actually. That thing just bogged down, and then nowhere for Chuck McClure and Larry Ingram to be able to go.
You can hear the engine revving up after he blew the gear.
Go on board with him, and folks can listen to exactly what Michael's describing. Wild ride there upside down, and probably wouldn't have flipped over, would have certainly gotten run over, probably wouldn't have gotten flipped over if that 28 behind him hadn't gotten such a bad restart as well, because the closing rate was huge after the 27 had his issue, and see him trying to downshift, trying to get that thing refired, and that might be the engine expired, because you could just see the black smoke that was erupting from underneath the hood. So I think his day has come to an early end, and indeed we can confirm he has been towed back to the garage area. So that's a tough break there for Andre Mahjong, who I believe, aside from Dave Robbins, was one of the few Dodges in the field here this evening. Jovan Anderson, when the caution came out, was ahead of Frank Rivard. Led us back to the caution. And he will, it looks like, at least for the moment, be the one that will lead us back to green for the upcoming restart. Jeff Supta now in 2nd. Josh Metallic, Jim Gloud, and Kelly Causey. That is the current top 5. Working our 3rd caution of the evening. We're only 16 laps into this 94-lap event. Lights are still on atop the Toyota Camry pace car, so we will give them the opportunity here under this caution period to get themselves all situated. We'll be back here for the restart in just a moment. You're not going to miss a thing as we take this break because we're going FRN side by side. Lights out atop the pace car. We're getting ready to go back green on lap 18 of 94. Jovan Anderson, last two starts, has finished on the podium, had the second place finish a couple of weeks ago at Texas, and then last week followed it up with a third place run at the Charlotte Roval. So he's finished on every spot on the podium but one. Looking for that win here tonight. Yeah, exactly. Literally. As he'll be the one to bring us back to green. His Toyota leads the Chevrolet of Jeff Supta, the Fords of Josh Metallic and Jim Cloud, and then the Chevrolet of Kelly Causey for the top five. You saw there during our race break, Sean Prime under this caution. Lucky Dog gets one of his laps back. He is now -3 to the race leaders, and Andre Mahjong is the first retiree out of the race. He will be finishing out this evening in the 31st position. Green flag back in the air here at Homestead. Can we settle into a long green flag run here at this point, since we've had the caution come out 3 times since the start?
See if we can keep this race green in for how long I can go for.
Alec trying to clear Supta for the second spot. Supta going to battle back on the top side here into 3. Cloud, Kelly Causey, they're side by side for the 4th position. Give it to Cloud, as look how he's able to get the power down there from the center of the corner off in 3 and 4. Supta doing the same as he picks up the draft of Jovan Anderson down the front straightaway. And yes, the draft actually does come into play in this because it is CTS physics. Also in that regard, it also means the tire wear is ramped up a little bit more than it would be with the Cup cars.
Yeah, absolutely. That's ramped up on top of the fuel going down a little bit more. You can't exactly make the same mileage you would in Cup physics here, so
32 to 35 with the CTS, so that'd be roughly, what, probably looking maybe 50 laps you'd be able to make it if these guys are running Cup physics.
Give or take.
Yeah, roughly that. Kelly Causey all over the back bumper of Josh Metallic for the 4th position, and Supta taking a peek there on the inside of Jovan Anderson for the race lead. Not able to make the move just yet, and this is the kind of the catch-22 with what we were told. Inside is good on fresh tires, but if you're on worn tires, middle to high line is the place to be. Well, if the car you're trying to pass is running that outside line, how brave are you going to be to go where they ain't down that inside line? Just how much grip are you going to have to be able to make that move? Look at the 72 of Jim Cloud already testing that theory as he tries to drive to the inside of Supta, and he's going to lose out on that because topside with Josh Metallic is going to get around him for 3rd. Causey follows to 4th, so boy, that inside line.
Oh, look at the 11. He really parked it into this corner. He's going to try to make it stick on the inside.
Right down on that white line. Man, that's about as close as you could get without touching the apron. Draws alongside the left rear of Jovan Anderson. But again, the top side gets that better run off the corner. Anderson will hang on to the lead for the time being.
Look at that, just running a half a groove lower than the 193. And if he gets it through, oh, we have a spin in the back.
Caution is out. And that spin appears to be the 96 of Dave Robbins.
Dave Robbins and Ron Hagelin and Cy Jones.
Now, Cy Jones, I think, actually entered into the vicinity late. I don't think he spun around. I think he just stopped for the wreck. Ron Hagelin, a lot of rear-end damage in that Coca-Cola Chevrolet, and the other Dodge that's remaining in the field, Dave Robbins, involved here in the fourth caution of the evening. This was obviously off of turn 2. Let's take a look and see if it was an argument over space or if maybe someone just got loose again. Argument over space. I think the car on the inside line is going to be Ron Hagelin. I think he's going to push up off of turn 2. Oh, no, actually, Robbins ran too wide, got to the throttle too soon, and the car kind of plowed off of the corner, hits the wall, and bounces into Ron Hagelin.
Keeping an eye on the leaders here, we do have a couple of more cars coming down pit road, another split field. The first half of the cars, front half cars coming down, but the 11 car does decide to stay out.
Here's the onboard with Ron Hagelin. Chevrolet. There's no reaction time. 96 bounces out of the wall. And unfortunately for Hagelin in this case too, you've got that grass in the inside of the back straightaway. Doesn't do a whole heck of a lot of slowing your race car down when it's heading for that inside wall. Hagelin down to the attention of his crew, a number of others on pit lane as well. You alluded to, Michael, Jeff Supta going to stay out and be the one to lead us back to green, it would appear.
Kelly Causey and Grant Wesley beat out, and the 007 car of Doug Caddy, I believe that's how you say it, right?
Yeah,
Caddy?
Doug Cady. Yep.
Okay, close enough. Doug Cady, they all beat Jovan Anderson and others out of pit road, so I'm not sure if that was maybe a 2-tire stop compared to maybe a 4-tire stop.
Jeff Supta this season has really kind of been a lap-leading machine. He led 48 laps, which was a race high back at Kansas. He led 22 laps in our last broadcast race for this series back at Texas. He's been up there at the front week after week, just has not been able to capitalize on finding victory lane. He's had the consistent finishes, though, 4 top 10s, 2 of those in the top 5 of the 5 starts so far this season, and that's why he sits second, tied for second in the point standings, 23 points out, but that elusive checkered flag still hanging in the balance for him, and maybe today will be the day. We know he was fast in practice. He was up near the top of the board. He was obviously fast in qualifying, nabbing the pole, and out in front here in this one for this upcoming restart. He has led 10 laps. I believe when he crossed the line there, he just led his 11th lap, which ties him for most laps led so far tonight with Jovan Anderson, 11 laps apiece. Jim Glaude is in the second position. You see the 43, the John Deere Chevrolet of Richard Martin now looks like he'll be slated to roll off in third. And one thing that you can tell with the Enter 2003 cars, a dead giveaway, is when these drivers are clutching and saving fuel. And that's one thing the 43 is doing. When you see that car bogged down, that's when they're throwing in the clutch and shutting the engine off to save that little bit of extra precious fuel. I mean, obviously, we don't get paid to do the fuel numbers up here. That's what the crew chiefs and the engineers down the pit boxes are doing. But
you still do them anyways.
You still do them anyways. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, you know, with the fact that we've had these early cautions and everything, and we've not really been able to see strategy come into play, these drivers, they work these races from back to front in terms of figuring out what the fuel window would be, how many more times they'd have to come to pit road. This is 25 laps into a 94-lap race. Guys might possibly be thinking about one stop from here on out if we don't end up seeing another caution.
It's very possible. I mean, you said, what was it, about 34 laps or so?
Yeah, 35 is the max number I was given, and I don't know if that includes if you're running in draft or if just with a single car.
Well, if you think about 35 laps from this point on, would be about 41. No, not 41. Well, I'm 51. So in 51 to 94, that's a whole nother 43 laps. So I think it would still be about a 2 pit stop race from right here. Unless, of course, I got a C in math, so my math could be completely wrong.
And also, too, if you think about it, I mean, could it be one of the cases, we've seen it in the past, where 2 pit stops are actually faster in terms of the lap times you can lay down with fresh tires than playing the one-stop strategy. So might have a split decision in terms of that. Saw Sean Prime go around, get another lap as the free pass. He is now only 2 laps down to the race leaders. So never say never. This 15 car might not be out of it yet, as he might have a chance of still getting back in the lead lap and having something to say and maybe getting his 3rd win on the season in what's been a very short season so far. Only 6 races, including tonight, run on the schedule. Jeff Supta gonna bring us back down to the green. Green flag back out on lap 27, and Jim Cloud was ready. Drives it deep into turn 1. Clear for the moment. Can he pull up in front of the 11? He can. Wow, what a power move there by Jim Cloud, timing that green flag perfectly. Ozzy now. Battle for 3rd with Richard Martin. There's JT Mayhew in the 338 right behind.
I'll be honest, that restart would have looked so much better on my end if I wasn't focused on the pace car.
You know, the pace car is a very interesting pace car, so I don't blame you for just wanting to stare at it. 3 wide. Oh my gosh. That's Jeremy Jeffries, Jovan Anderson, Grant Wesley.
We'll see how well these new tires work. You say the inside lane's the way to go on new tires, so we're going to find out.
Jovan Anderson at 93 car. He is the highest right now on the fresh Goodyears, but he is in a very precarious situation.
3 wide, yes, but he just got slightly loose off that corner.
Now going to run in the tire tracks of the 7 of Doug Cady. Going to look down to the inside. Ended up hearing earlier from Jeff Supta when we got some race notes about the setup and everything, is if you're on fresh tires, you can run the bottom and you're so fast you feel like Superman. That's what Jovan Anderson was trying to do, but nearly made contact. But I think that was Jeremy Jeffries had to back out of it. Now we're 3 wide. It's going to be Metallic in the middle with Jeffries on the bottom and Wesley on the top.
Well, you also got to be careful when you run the inside lane, because you could wear your tires out pretty good that way too. Just because you think you're fast, you're hurting yourself in the long run.
Well, we even saw that with the incident with Dave Robbins and Ron Hagelin on the back straightaway, running on the top side. That right front tire heat building up, the car getting really tight off the corner and get up into that outside retaining wall. It just exemplifies when you take the shorter way around the racetrack, because it's a more acute angle. Metallic now down on that inside line. You know, it's very rare that we end up saying that you're trapped on the inside line, but that's kind of the case here, because the faster way around the racetrack is that middle to high line, as Jeremy Jeffries very slowly but very methodically working his way up there towards the front. He's now in a side-by-side battle with JT Mayhew. That would be for, I believe, 5th place.
Inside lane beginning to make a little bit. Oh, Jovan slides up just a little bit.
Andrew Miller down there almost was 3 wide with the 93 and the 7. Boy, look at Jeremy Jeffries, slingshot to the inside of Richard Martin. And he's going to make it work. That kind of reminded me of the Chase Elliott slingshot we used to see back at Talladega. Get to someone's left rear and just like shoot down to the inside and pass them right on by the time you get to the center of the corner.
Can we get a slide job too? That's what I'm thinking. A 93 slide up in front of that 338, and it looks like he will be clear of him, and he's going to fall right in line, right? Or I should say, jump up in line, right there.
Josh Metallic made the pass around Richard Martin. Anderson now looking to do the same.
Well, you can tell who's got the fresher tires
For sure.
Oh, I think he might have hit the wall. I think the 8 might have just clipped the wall.
The question is, though, with how hard these drivers are racing right now on these fresh tires, the longer we get into a run, will the grip level equal out from old to fresh tires, or will they still have that advantage? That'll be interesting to see, as we've yet to settle into a long green flag run here. 4 cautions in the early going.
Yeah, that is very true. It's just starting to get a decent run here, not trying to jinx it or anything. And we're starting to see all those fresh tires. You go ahead and wonder up front, how much longer can I survive on these tires before these new tires eat me up?
Jeremy Jeffries still staying on that inside line, trying to slide job Kelly Causey, and he'll successfully do so off of turn 4. Boy, you got to have a lot of confidence in pulling off a move like that, because if you misjudge it even the least little bit, you're probably going to get hooked in the right rear coming off the turn.
Brady Dale Jr. that you can do that slide job.
Josh Metallic there tried to follow Jeremy Jeffries, but looks like Kelly Causey's going to hold him off for the 4th position. Supta now under fire from Jeffries, and he might go for a twofer here through 3 and 4. He cleared Supta, almost got into that left rear tire of Jim Glaude, but Jeremy Jeffries, the fresh tire, is going to go to the front. Easily clears for the race lead. Jeffries out to the top position, and that is going to be, if he can hold on to it, his first lap lead of the night, but Glaude's not going away quietly.
Keeping an eye on the movement in about the middle of this top 10 here, and yeah, he's not going for it right away. But you got to think, Jovan Anderson might be one of the next people on fresher tires, so I don't think he's going to want to see that 8 car get to the lead and pull away before he has a chance to even get up there.
Ooh, telemetry said Glaude just barely led that lap interval, 3/1000ths of a second. So Jeremy Jeffries is still yet to lead a lap here tonight. Half a car length advantage going into turn 3, and we stacked up 3 wide there behind Supta. Kelly Causey had to bail out of the throttle a little bit. Now he's on the top side. Grant Wesley's in the middle, and Andrew Miller is on the bottom in the Powerade Chevrolet. And look who's made his way up into the picture as well, the 62 of Rano Mousset. There he is, up in the outside line of the 47. So you got a few drivers here, the 47, the 62, the 93, all on fresh tires.
The 11 might have scraped the wall out of that turn. It was real high off that corner.
Now if he did, he just barely kissed it. No visible damage on the right side of that Chevy Camaro.
Are you saying he kissed the wall?
I'm saying that maybe Michael Myers is into that kind of thing. I don't know. I never watched the Halloween series.
We talk about the inside being fast. And you can see it. It makes a little bit of progress right in about the center of the corner, but from the center off, outside lane gets a better advantage.
Whoa, that was a little sketch there down the back straightaway. Jim Glaude was getting a little bit of a bump from Jeff Supta, and the bumpers were not lined up. Glaude almost came down into Jovan Anderson, so we very nearly had a wreck up here at the front of the field. They all settled it out, though, as Jeffries continues to hold the lead. Metallic has now moved his way into second, and Jovan Anderson looks like he's going to take the 3rd spot here off of turn 2. So you've got the fresher tires now up inside of the podium.
Well, I got a question for you, Seth, and here, and this is it, because you're a driver, you've driven in this before, as we have a battle for the lead right now. With CTS physics, it's almost impossible to crawl away from the field. You know, you've got to worry about, like you said, the draft comes into a big play. How frustrating is that for a driver, knowing like, hey, I got the lead, yeah, maybe I can pull it, but then to see them stay right in your rearview mirror?
It's definitely frustrating, because it's one more thing you have to worry about, right? I mean, these drivers are at this point in time trying to preserve these tires for the long run. The last thing you want to do is have to also be looking out your rearview mirror and seeing if somebody might be getting a run on you that you might have to block, or maybe try and get some dirty air to the nose when you're going through the corners. So it's extremely frustrating. It's quite distracting, and that's why these drivers right now are trying to figure out how to be able to get a run on Jeremy Jeffries, to kind of get into his head, give him that distraction, that one extra thing to worry about, as the inverted numbers. The 93 got around the 39. Jovan now to the 2nd position.
Now we'll see if, now we all know, me and you both know how Jovan races. He is a very conservative racer.
Very conservative racer, but also a very, you know, it kind of sounds like a contradiction of terms, but a very clean, aggressive racer. We saw it 2 weeks ago at Texas when he and Jeremy Jeffries were mixing it up for that checkered flag at Texas Motor Speedway. They kept crossing each other over. They never wrecked each other. They gave each other room, but they also didn't cut each other any slack.
Well, it looks like we might have part 2 of that right here.
Right? That's what I was going to say. It's almost like the sequel here tonight at Homestead. Crossing the line, lap 44 goes on the board, almost halfway through this race. This is the longest green flag run we've had so far here tonight. Grant Wesley, I believe he also is on the same lap fresh tires as the top 3, but he's not been able to work his way up to the front nearly as quickly. Trying to get around Jeff Supta, did not get some good momentum down the back straightaway, and now Andrew Miller will pull to his top side. This is an ongoing battle for P6 between those two Chevrolets.
Well, Seth, as much as I don't want to jinx it again, we've been, I think, under green for a little over 20 laps, so now the question begins about pit stops.
That's a good question, too, because, you know, these drivers have yet to make a green flag pit stop, and we know that a lot of times, a lot of these drivers like that art of hot pitting, so...
They can't do that here. I believe they have to take the apron.
Yeah, take that access road. Yeah, I think you might be right. So, that'll be interesting. I mean, for those that tuned into last night's race for the Dark Horse Racing Series, they were also at Homestead, and we saw, even with the low downforce package that those cars have, they were having some struggles getting onto pit lane. So I can only imagine what it's going to be for these drivers and these next-gen cars, especially with the fact that they're going to be on old tires. I think we got some drivers pitting. Here we go. Jim Glau, Jeff Supta, hands out the window, and they're onto that access road. And this access road, it's not as spacious as it looks. You can put one wheel wrong into the grass, and there is no grip in that grass.
Nope, and we're seeing those cars that stayed out from that previous caution come in first.
Loud in the 72, Supta in the 11. Trying to get it down to the 45-mile-per-hour pit speed. You can go as fast as you want on that access road from 3 into 4, but it's not exactly recommended.
Exactly, it really isn't. Look at Miller. Look at the run Miller has underneath the 39.
Miller in that number 47 Powerade Chevrolet. Strong showing here this evening for him as he's trying to get that 4th spot from Grant Wesley. Not quite able to get the power down through the center of the corner on that inside line. And Ronald Lucet has now moved up into the 6th position, and he's going to blow the doors off of Andrew Miller with help from Kelly Causey. Got that nice run on the top side down the back straightaway. Well, here tonight... Oh, go ahead.
I said again, our leader not being able to pull away from this pack.
Has a bit of a gap, though, and now it's going to be a battle for second place between Joe Anderson and Josh Metallic. There's not enough space. He can't move up.
He almost had it.
Grant Wesley moved low, might be trying to offer some drafting. Is he going to bump him? I think he gave him a shove right there on the back straightaway.
I have.
Trying to line up that Chevy Camaro nose with that Ford Mustang back bumper. Here tonight, bringing you coverage of the Barebones Racing Series for RTG, and it's an RTG-filled week. Wednesday night, we're going to be bringing you coverage of the Aero 88 Series from Kentucky in the Bluegrass State, and then, of course, the usual Thursday night RTG Tally Challenge as we're down the home stretch of the regular season, starting to make some plans for the playoffs there in that Super Speedway Series. That really split up, I just noticed, back around 7th to 8th. Did we have another driver hit pit road?
We might have.
Yeah, 338. JT Mayhew on pit lane, and I'm pretty sure he was running in that 8th spot. So the Reese Chevrolet coming down to the attention of his crew, and so that says to me, these drivers here up in the front, they might not be that far out from when they're going to have to pick, because I'm pretty sure the 338 was on pit lane under the last caution period. Well, Ronald Lucet now up to the 4th position. Picked up a couple of spots there in the last few laps. Oh, caution! Oh, this is not what those drivers who pitted wanted to see. Yellow flag out for the 5th time tonight.
Could have been Chuck McClure, I think. I don't know. I don't really see anybody spun.
Yeah, McClure's slow on the front straightaway, as is Dante Ricky in the 84. And now the question is, was this contact on the track or maybe a possible mess up trying to get onto pit lane? Let's go back and see, but oh man, this puts Supta, Jim Glaude, Richard Martin all a lap down. Same for JT Mayhew, because they all had been on pit road under green and lost a lap as a result. Oh, well, it was not a pit road incident. Contact over in turn 3. Watch the 96 of Dave Robbins. Gonna drive it to the inside of Chuck McClure here, and it looks like he just has no grip. Up the track into McClure. McClure trying to hang on to it, loops it around out of turn 4. Oncoming traffic. Boy, lucky he didn't hit that barrier, that pit road barrier there. That brings out the caution. I do believe that those 4 drivers I mentioned that were trapped off the lead lap, I believe that 2 of them will be able to take the wave around. The other 2, JT Mayhew and Jeff Supta, were the first 2 cars 1 lap down, so they should be able to get the free pass. They should be able to be back in the lead lap. The problem, though, Michael, is they're going to, in taking the wave around, in regards to the 72 and the 43, they're going to have, what, 4, 5, maybe 6 lap older tires than the rest of the field.
That might be enough to just equal it all out, to be completely honest, after a good while, but we're going to have to wait and see here. Jeffrey's out first. Where happened to Joven? Joven had a bad pit stop, I think.
Really bad. I think he came out 8th, 9th of the drivers that pit.
About 7th, I think. Jeffries was the first out, so he was 7th out, give or take.
Wonder if he got boxed in there on pit road. Might have had to slow up for somebody. Don't know all the ins and outs. Jeff Supta's actually going to come to pit lane. Oh, that's right. He is the lucky dog. I was going to say, I thought he was going to take the wave around, but he and the 338 are actually the lucky dog, so they can pit. And how about Robbie Nisus? Going to lead a lap here in that number 54 Navy Toyota Camry. Of course, October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You can see just behind the driver's side number, that pink ribbon. Of course, also got the pink driver banner, the pink numbers. So, pretty cool initiative there by the driver of the number 54, Robbie Nisus, representing the Breast Cancer Awareness Month pink on that Camry. Nisus will get a bonus point for a lap led. More than likely come to pit road the next lap, which should turn the race lead over, if I'm not mistaken, to 8 of Jeremy Jeffries. You see the 72 of Jim Glaude, the 43 of Richard Martin. They're certainly hoping the 54 comes to pit road, because if he doesn't, they would be trapped behind a lead lap car and not be eligible for the wave around. If Nisus comes to pit road, they'd be ahead of the 8, and they'd be able to go back around, get their lap once the lights go out atop the pace car. Interesting where we're going to be going back green here, Michael. More than likely lap 56, lap 57. So these drivers at this point in time, based off the fuel numbers we were given, they cannot make it the rest of the way without coming to pit lane. So the 43 and the 72, they're getting their laps back with the wave around. The 11 and the 338 were able to get their laps back with the lucky dog. They're one of the few drivers that made a green flag pit stop. They've got the experience of what to do when it comes down to potentially a money stop under green flag conditions. Does that give them an advantage over the rest of the field here if we are indeed looking at one more green flag pit stop from now to the checkers?
It's just a slight bit of an advantage, honestly, because, yeah, they know how to get on the pit road and everything. It's one thing, but it's what you're going to take on this final pit stop that's going to be the deal breaker, because 35 laps from now, that's what, 90, give or take. So 9091. So if
Yeah.
they do come down the
Oof.
road, it might just be a fuel only gas and go.
Right on the mark of the.
Very
The
close.
35 laps, I would have to assume, is if you're running hard. Can you save? It's CTS physics. Can you save 4 laps here? I don't think so.
Well, if there's anybody I know personally who can do it, and I think you know the same person.
I know a couple of these guys are very good at saving fuel in the field as well, though. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to go green from here to the checkers because we're all bunched back up again for another restart,
Heck,
and we've seen how hectic the restarts have been already.
If they go at least another 10 laps, then a caution come out. They can top off and be good.
Right.
But what about their tires?
Exactly. Well, Jeremy Jeffries is indeed going to lead us back to green. Grant Wesley in second. Ron Lucey third. Then Kelly Causey, Andrew Miller is your top 5. Josh Metallic in sixth. 7th place could be Doug Cady, Jovan Anderson, Dave Melson, and Terry Bombard makes his first appearance inside the top 10 as we get ready for the green flag to fly once more. We do have a couple of drivers that are back in the garage area, and this has happened in the last 10 laps or so. Ron Hagelin out of the race in 30th. He, of course, was involved in that wreck on the back straightaway. I think it was our second or third caution of the day. As Grant Wesley gets a great jump, and he'll actually take the lead into turn 1. Also, Brian Schilling had an engine failure. He's out of the race in 29th, and just recently, Dave Robbins, who had the damage from an earlier incident, he has gone to the garage area and will finish in the 28th position. So 4 drivers at this point in time out of the race and have not reached the conclusion of tonight's event here at Homestead, and Causey into the 62 of Lucey, and we are scattering.
My Lord, that is a big wreck.
It's a parking lot out of turn 4.
Jovan Anderson, Dante Ricky,
McClure, Bombard, Metallic. Oh, they're still wrecking. Katie's around on the front stretch. Oh, gosh. That's a lot of good cars involved in that. That was right up at the front of the field. Contact for, I think at the time, 3rd place.
Look at Jovan Anderson. That was a very tough break.
Katie on pit road. Metallic on pit road. There's Kelly Causey. I heard your reaction, and I knew exactly where you were looking at because it really looked like that right front of Causey was getting pretty close to the left rear of Ronald Lucey through the center of 3 and 4. Let's go back and look at it a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, it was. He just a little too tight.
It was into 3. You see the 00 running almost a groove lower. Stay on the brakes. Ooh, gets a clip there from Larry Ingram. Sean Prime in the 15 appeared to have gotten a little bit of that. Don't know if that's going to take him out of the running of getting a lucky dog or not. Can't recall what the policy is. You're involved, if that makes you ineligible or not. And watch here when we focus on the 00 of Kelly Causey. All these drivers getting back to the throttle from the center to the corner off, and then not realizing, oh wait, the wreck up ahead. Oh man, Dave Melson was in that. Frank Rivard, Glenn Harris. Oh, there's John Godfrey. Big shot into both Terry Bombard and Kelly Causey. And right in the middle of that, remember we saw Jeff Supta elect to come to pit lane a lap later than everybody else? He was right in the thick of that. I think he got through. We're going to take an onboard with him, but he very nearly ended up having his day come to an end right then and there. Watch this onboard. Driver 11. Spin around after contact with Ingram. Oh my gosh, there's Bombard coming down the track. McClure stopped right in front of him. Supta is able to literally crawl his way through, even has to get on the brakes here to avoid Doug Cady, who spun out. Mike Jones had to make a 7. Boy, that could have very well been a race ender in terms of the strategy. Driver the 11. Let's take a look at the Doug Cady, Jovan Anderson wreck.
Yeah,
Was actually,
it was
this was further up past the initial wreck.
probably just all caused because of the scattering.
80 down to the inside to avoid, clips the apron, back up the track, and nowhere for Anderson to go. Dante Ricky as well in the 84, didn't see him involved, and he got a big chunk of that wreck. Biggest wreck so far here tonight. A lot of good cars going to be more than likely taken out in this one. A few of them already back in the garage area. Doug Cady is out of the race. He is, looks like, going to finish in 27th. And I'm also seeing Josh Metallic, who is up there battling in the top 5, well, actually the top 3 for a good portion of the beginning of this race. And his day is done. Looks like he's going to get credited for 26th. Sean Prime is indeed going to be getting the free pass. He was the only driver off the lead lap under that period of racing. So he'll go around and he will now be at -1. We'll have 25 drivers running, 24 of them on the lead lap, and Grant Wesley's going to elect the top side here on the upcoming restart. Talked about Sean Prime trying to be a 3-time winner this season. Grant Wesley is trying to do the same. Grant won the season opener and also won, I believe it was 3 weeks ago at, it was Las Vegas. I'll double check on that. No, it was actually at Bristol. So a 2-time winner and looking for his 3rd win, and also, maybe more importantly, trying to continue to open up his points gap as the points leader of this series. Michael.
Yes, sir.
We're going back on 62. 35 laps from then would be 97. So these drivers theoretically could make it the rest of the way on what they've got in the tank if they came to pit road under this caution period, which I think the majority of them did.
It's very true, and it's going to be, if we stay green out all, it's going to come down to maybe a tire strategy. Who can save their tires the most?
We appreciate everybody tuning in to our coverage here tonight for the RTG Barebones Racing Series. Closing on 30 laps to go here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Grant Wesley ready to get us back underway.
038 did not get going. Not sure if it's mostly because of the damage he has.
Point you saw right there, the 8 and the 47 got clear of him and immediately went up there to the top side once they got past the start-finish line to have that outside advantage entry into the corner. Andre Cherez says, well, thank you very much for leaving me the inside. He just moved from, I think, what was that, 6th to 2nd?
From 5th to 2nd, just like that.
Wow.
Fresh tires, inside lane.
Len Harris right there as well in that 08. Battling for the 3rd spot with Jeremy Jeffries. Almost 3 wide looking back there. I saw Bobby Farrell was mixing it up with, I think that was Jeff Supta and Richard Martin. And Charest is on the hunt at Ford, trying to take the race lead from the Chevrolet of Grant Wesley. It's alongside here, nice arc through the center of 3 and 4. And he get that drive off the corner.
Oh, Bobby Farrell on the front straightaway has hit the inside wall, sliding back up the track. And the caution is out.
Oh,
man, hit by Kelly
hit.
Causey.
Big hit by Kelly Causey. Caution gonna fly once again. And that ghost is busted.
I really think so.
And big impact caution waving for the 7th time tonight. Grant Wesley leading us back around to the caution. Andre Cherest, Jeremy Jeffries, Andrew Miller, and Glenn Harris, the top 5.
Yeah, 30 laps to go on the dot.
New car incident here with Farrell and Causey. Now it's a question of, towards the back of the field, is it worth coming down, putting on another set of tires since it's unlimited, and see if you can make your way further up to the front from where you currently are? I'm assuming if you're at the front of the pack, you're not planning on coming to pit road maybe the rest of this race. Here's the Farrell incident off of turn 4. Got his left sides on the apron. That thing all sorts of loose. Into the Armco barrier on the inside and then back up the track. Almost gets Rivard, but does get Kelly Causey. And man, that is a shot right there. Not sure just how fast Causey was going at the moment of impact. Like our telemetry says, he was around 100 miles per hour. And you'll get to see it front and center here as we're going to go inside the double zeros on board and see just what we saw. Hoping that car is going to stay down to the bottom. And he saw the 92 was migrating up, gets on the brakes, but there's just not enough time to slow that car down. And that might be the day done for Kelly Causey. Possibly day done for Bobby Farrell as well. Tough break there for Causey, another driver that spent a good portion at the beginning of this race up inside of the top 5. And we had, well, quite a split decision of drivers that elected to come down and drivers that elected to stay out. Jeremy Jeffries, Andrew Miller were on the pit lane. Lewis, Sullins, Supta, Dave Melson. Oh, Grant Wesley was also on pit road, but he had a much slower pit stop, as did Andre Charest. Two drivers were in first and second, so the question would be, did the 8 and the 47, did they go with a 2-tire stop maybe? And the 88-75 might have gone with 4. Go back, find out.
It's very much possible.
Let's find out. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's going to come down to tire strategy, I feel like, still.
Here we go. Here's the pit stops. We're going to focus on the 8. 88 pull into his stall there. The Blymer Chevrolet, another Ghostbusters car. All right, so Grant, they go around to the right side. Jeffries, they go around to the right side. Or do they drop the jack, and does the 8 leave his stall? There you see the lefts going up there for the 88, and Jeffries, yep, no left side tires, so right side's only for him. It's like the same for Andrew Miller, so getting spicy with some strategy calls here in the late going at Homestead.
All going to come down to the strategy set, and I'm looking forward to it.
Martin, like he is going to be the leader. At least at this point in time. Is he staying out for a lap-led bonus point, or is he indeed going to be the one to bring us back to green? Larry Ingram and JT Mayhew have also stayed out. John Godfrey has stayed out. And so too has Frank Rivard. The top 5 have not pitted under this caution period. Do they feel that the track position is more important than the tires, or will we see them maybe dive onto pit lane this time? I think the lights are going to go out atop the pace car this time by, and Sean Prime, well, he's going to have less than 30 laps to mount a comeback, but he is now finally 67 laps later going to be back on the lead lap. We saw him slated to roll off from the outside of the front row. Had something happen where he sat on pit road for a number of laps, was as many as 5 laps down to the leaders, but finally, through these cautions and the free passes, is back on the lead lap. And there you see him going around to get that final lap back that he needed. So he will be restarting in the 24th position, last car on the lead lap. Another driver back in the garage area. Most recent driver out of the race will be Kelly Causey. Going to be 25th in tonight's finishing results. So we gave you those top 5 that had stayed out, and none of them dove to pit lane. So Martin, Ingram, Mayhew, Godfrey, and Rivard, that's the top 5 when we go back green. Then you've got the 2-tire strategy drivers. 6th place, Jeremy Jeffries. 7th place, Andrew Miller. Chuck McClure in 8th. Rodney Sullins 9th. 10th, Dave Melson. And Jeff Supta in 11th. Then you got the 4-tire drivers from 12th place on back. Grant Wesley in that 12th spot. Andre Charest in 13th, Glenn Harris 14th, and Bob LaChance in 15th. We'll give you the rest of the way down the field. His 16th place is going to be Jim Glaude, Terry Bombard 17th, 18th, Ryan Lucet, Joe Anderson in 19th, 20th, Dante Ricky, then Cy Jones 21st, 22nd, Bobby Farrell, 23rd, Robbie Nisus. And then Sean Prime, as mentioned, getting his lap back in the lead lap in 24th for this upcoming restart. My calculations are right. We're getting ready to go back green with 26 laps to go. Richard Martin, can he get a good enough launch to keep those fresher tires at bay as the green flag is back in the air here at Homestead?
They definitely got a good one. Looks like 7-Eleven's going to follow him for second.
Godfrey trying to clear Larry Ingram here through 1 and 2. Ingram battling hard on that inside line, though. Gonna get alongside, at least to the left rear quarter panel of Richard Martin off of turn 2. And now it's the patience game, right? If you're the drivers on 2 tires, the drivers on 4 tires, because you know that the guys ahead of you are not going to be able to carry nearly as much speed as you are, but you can't run them over.
Godfrey really had to get out of the throttle there. He pushed up almost into the wall.
Jeffries is the car behind him, having to hold up to allow Godfrey to recover through the center. Andrew Miller in the 47, right now in the middle. Jeff Supta to his inside. Those are all drivers on right sides.
I think that was the 17 who did hit the wall. Now, Seth, I got to tell you, you know, a staying out strategy is all right and all, but it's oh my God.
Look at Jeffries. Wow. Up the gut.
This is what I was going to talk about. You know, staying out on old tires is good and all, but this is CTS physics. You can't get away from the pack. So, honestly, staying out on old tires probably wasn't the best thing to do.
Wow, Jeremy Jeffries, what a masterful job of getting through the slower traffic or the drivers on older tires. Is nearly a wreck there. Rivard and Mayhew making contact, more contact. Supta into Mayhew. Andrew Miller saying, hey, this is putting me up almost to the wall in 3 and 4. Settle down.
I don't think that's going to happen. Not with this many laps to go. They're still 3 wide right here.
Supta still on the bottom. There's Grant Wesley, highest driver on 4 fresh tires. He sees a gap. Whoa, that thing's all sorts of slideways going into turn 1. He almost thought about going up the middle 4 wide. And now Frank Rivard around off the nose of JT Mayhew. Grant Wesley's involved, and another huge calamity on the back straightaway.
So that had to have been an argument over space there.
35 and the 338. Making contact for what I think at the time was 4th place.
I think the 338 just tried to come up behind the 35. It just wasn't clear.
Grant Wesley, who was on fresh tires, spun around, so there goes that advantage. Both tire-wise and track position-wise. Glenn Harris had some damage as well. Here's a look at it off of turn number 2. That just really pushed up off the corner, did the 338. Far down and into the inside wall. Oh, there's Ron Lucet, top of your screen, who was collected. Get a more in-depth look of the damage he sustained, as we'll focus this time on the 338, car that was on the inside line. But the 338 just shot right back up the track to the right. Larry Ingram got a piece, Chuck McClure. Stay right side of your screen, bottom of your screen, Glenn Harris. And as we ride on board with Grant Wesley, I mean, just watch how quickly having the potential advantage if this thing goes green to the end of having those fresher tires, how quickly that advantage can go away. Almost had that avoided. Got there from Chuck McClure. Double check, I think Andre Charest right now is the highest driver on fresh tires. Actually, we had more drivers come to pit lane again here up from the front. Not certain. I think we did. I think Jeremy Jeffries was just on pit lane again, as was Jeff Supta. So I guess the drivers that elected to go with the right side tire strategy thought, all right, well, it worked for then, but now we got to get ourselves back on equal footing with the drivers that took on 4.
No, honestly, you really need 4 tires. I mean, it's like we just saw what happens with new tires versus old tires. So, like, You definitely need tires to stay out front because you can't break away from the pack with these physics.
This restart's going to be with less than 20 to go. Richard Martin going to stay out again in the 43, as will the 7-Eleven of John Godfrey. So this will be 2 restarts that these 2 drivers have not come to pit lane to put on fresh tires. So very interesting strategy in that regard. Andrew Miller got somewhat fresher left side, or correction, right side tires, as he's slated to be 3rd on the restart. And then you've got the 238 cars, the 038 of Dave Nelson and the 38 of Rodney Sullins. They're right now going to be in 4th and 5th for the upcoming restart. Andre Charest there in the 75, he stayed out, and he had taken on 4 tires under the last caution period, so you'd have to think he'd be the one to watch here on the upcoming restart. The drivers that came to pit lane took on tires 0 under this caution period. Jeffries, Zupta, Anderson, and company, they're going to be restarting outside the top 10. Highest will be Jeffries in 11th place. And we saw how Jeffries was able to slice his way through the field before. That was from, I think, the 6th restarting position. Now he's going to have a lot more cars to pass, so the patience is going to have to be even more of a thing that Jeffries will have to do here. Does not appear that any drivers that were collected up in that last incident have gone behind the wall. They've all continued. Sean Prime did get through that wreck, and he is now going to be restarting in the 16th position. So again, do not count the 15 out of maybe picking up his 3rd win on the season and maybe winning back-to-back races. Lights out atop the pace car. Again, the restart will be with less than 20 to go. But caution comes out again between now and the end of the race. You talk about the importance of tires. I mean, Jeremy Jeffries, Grant Wesley, Jovan Anderson, they've been to pit road both these caution periods. Do you come down again?
I'm not sure at that point, Seth. Like you said, unlimited tires, so it's a possibility. I guess it really depends on your track position. You know, if you're a little further in the mid-pack, then yeah, I would say come down again. But if you're closer towards the front, then it might not be such a good idea.
Also remember, too, that
that's why we have crew chiefs that make those decisions, not us.
Let's also remember, too, there is every possibility that this race could end under caution. I would say probably by the time we reach the completion of lap 90 or so, caution from that period on would end the race under yellow. So let's say a caution comes out at like lap 84, 85. You might be getting a restart around that point of no return with only 1 lap left before you reach that point. I mean, do you feel that your old tires would be able to hold off the fresher tires for 1 lap, maybe catch a caution at just the right moment, and end up winning the race on that type of strategy? Somebody might play a gutsy call like that.
We're going to have to wait and see.
Green flag set to come back out here. Richard Martin looking for another good launch, but he does not get it. Look at the bumpers locked there for Andrew Miller and John Godfrey. Godfrey's going to get the shove and the lead into turn 1.
Go, Gilbert, go. I mean, John.
And remember, Miller's got those fresher right side tires, so we'll see if he makes a move. Loud to the grass. Might have been some contact there, or someone might have gotten the wall off of turn 2.
Anderson taking it 3 wide, 51's in the wall.
Pablo Chance up there in the safer barrier. Let's make sure that everybody's able to avoid him off the corner. Oh, we got a spinner. Chuck McClure's around on the front straightaway. And that will bring out the caution. Caution is out. I don't know if the leader had gotten to the line yet or not. Looks like they are slowing. Oh, no, they're not. Nope, they are not. So we're going to stay with this because they are racing back at this point in time. Andrew Miller has taken the lead from John Godfrey. He's going to be leading us back here to the caution. It's going to be in the vicinity of less than 15 laps to go. Godfrey in 2nd, Sullins in 3rd. Richard Martin and Robbie Nisus look like they're the top 5.
Some good runs, cars coming back. Richard Johnson makes it back into the top 10.
Yeah, Jovan Anderson, no
going by his
back
alias.
bumper. Blur on pit road, the reason for this most recent caution.
Now the 43 is coming to pit road.
Go back, take a look at what happened there. Turn 4 has not been Chuck McClure's friend here tonight. Had that loop around in the early going of this race. And let's see what happens this time. Does he just lose it? Is it again in reaction to something up ahead of him? Bobby Farrell is to his inside in the 92. LeChance in the 51 up ahead of him. He pulls it low and just loses it. No contact with the 92. Just apparently that car unsettled in the back. Not planted when he's getting back to the throttle off the corner. Drivers have that short spoiler to start with. He's got that rear end damage, so I don't know if that's kind of taking the spoiler even further out of the air, eliminating that rear downforce he needs. Here's another look at it off of turn number 4. But McClure has been fighting that Jack Daniels Chevrolet Camaro pretty much all night long. Doesn't get the apron, but you can just see there the motion, feels the car is about to go around, tries to catch it, but reacts just a little bit too late. So 9th caution of the evening. Making things very interesting here down the home stretch of this race at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Andrew Miller is going to stay out, so he'll be the one that will lead us back to green in just a few moments. We'll be back here for that restart as we step aside for a quick FRN race break. You're not going to miss a thing here under pacing. We're going to take you FRN side by side. Getting down to the nitty-gritty here at Homestead Miami Speedway, getting ready for a restart with roughly 13 laps remaining here. Andrew Miller staying out. Got 2 fresh right side tires. Then you've got John Godfrey, who's, I think by my last count, got about 12-lap old tires, but he's been able to hold his own there. He'll be on the outside of the front row. Rodney Sullins is going to be third. Robbie Nisus up here in fourth, and then you've got the 4 fresh tires of Jeremy Jeffries right there in that 5th position, trying to join Sean Prime and Grant Wesley as a multi-time winner this season in only 6 races so far in a very young schedule. Here we go, Michael Miller looking for the restart of his life and maybe hoping for a couple more cautions to keep the fresher tires at bay.
You got a little squirrely there.
Wheel spin, but a pretty nice launch. He will have the lead into turn 1. Keep your eyes on that orange and black number 8 on that inside line, though, of Jeremy Jeffries. He's going to hold no prisoners, trying to fight his way to the front with that extra grip. Those fresh 4 tires. He's almost mowing the grass back there on the backstretch.
Gotta be careful.
Loud in the 72, going to swing around the outside. Oh, Robbie Nisus into Jovan Anderson, and now Jeremy Jeffries nearly loses it. Wesley's into the wall. What a palather on the front straightaway, but we still keep it green. Asupta almost ran over Jeffries. Wow. The driver's trying to bring out the 10th caution of the night as Miller is gone. He's checked out by about 3.5, 4 car lengths. How long will that last? Battle for second, Godfrey on the top, Sullins on the bottom in the 38. Then you've got Gloud side by side with Charest. Those Fords mixing it up for the 4th position.
All in the while.
Oh, we got a spinner! Sean Prime around in the inside wall. He collected someone else, couldn't tell who it was. Caution is out. We've also got some smoke here through 1 and 2, so that may have not been necessarily what brought out the yellow. As we follow this battle back to the start-finish line, Andrew Miller gonna lead them back to the 10th caution of the night. Oh, that's engine smoke. Somebody's smoking up here.
Also, by the way, you called it, Seth. 85, lap 85, 86, caution came out.
Who was the car that was smoking all the way around the racetrack? Whoever it is, I don't see them there now. There's Sean Prime. No, he was definitely involved. I couldn't tell who the second car was that he was involved with, and oh, I'm actually now getting 2 reports. Chuck McClure out of the race. Dante Ricky disqualified. Not sure how that would have happened. Try and figure all this out. I want to double check first and see. It was actually Sean Prime and Jeff Supta that got together out of 4. But I want to check first off and see. Oh, it was Dante Ricky's engine that went south. And it looks like it happened when we went back green. And the disqualification would be dropping debris on the racetrack for the 84. Actually, this was long before we went back green. I don't even know. I can pinpoint exactly when the engine grenades on the 84 car. This was coming to pit lane. Okay, this is all the way back. Believe it or not, this is all the way back on lap 79. This was under the last caution period. Dante coming to pit lane. We can tell what caused the engine die. Downshift? Yeah, right there. I don't know if he downshifts. It was hard to tell. The rear tires locked up. So I'm guessing he downshifted and see the black smoke trailing from behind the Mug Root Beer Toyota Camry. And he stayed out, logged some laps, and because of that, he ended up getting the disqualification for dropping debris on the track. So that did not bring out the yellow. Let's now take a look and see what did. It's Sean Prine and Jeff Supta. This was off of turn 4.
I know none of the front runners came down pit road, Seth. So I guess they got what they got.
A little bit of ricocheting there. Supta, Ronald Lucet in the middle of that. Sean Prime's 15. Prime got himself back on the lead lap. Supta was out in front for a good portion of this race. That was contact right there. That spin involved your scheduled front row, bringing out this 10th yellow flag of the night. Talk about the leaders not coming to pit lane, so they've got to be of the assumption here that this race may end under caution. We will get back green, this much we know, but there is every likelihood that green flag flies, caution comes out same lap, and one of these guys can win this race under yellow. Andrew Miller, John Godfrey, Jim Glaude, Rodney Sullins are certainly hoping that. Then you got the fresh tires of Andre Charest, Jovan Anderson, Terry Bombard, Grant Wesley back there. Jeremy Jeffries ended up getting all used up, had to check up there after there was contact between Robbie Nisus and Jovan Anderson off turn 4, so he fell all the way back to the 9th position. Got Frank Ribard there completing the top 10. Are you liking this call by the 47? Because we know he's got fresher right sides than at least the 711 and the 72. He's the control car, so he's able to get a launch. But does he have enough to be able to hold off the 4 fresher tires that are restarting around 5th, 6th, 7th position if this thing goes green to the end? Because what we're looking at, maybe 6 laps that he would have to hold them off? Lights out. Top that Toyota Camry pace car. Andrew Miller.
I've been talking to you this whole time, and I've had some technical difficulties on my end.
I thought maybe I said something to offend you. You weren't speaking to me anymore or something.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But I was actually answering you. Yeah, it's going to be about 5 laps to go on this restart. So he's got 5 laps, Andrew does, to hold him off. And honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I mean, we've got the top 6 here, even some with damage, have a good shot at winning this race. And with no one coming down pit road under this caution, these cars got what they got now. And from this point on, if there's a caution, the race will end under yellow.
Take a look at some of these guys and where they're positioned in points if they can pull off this miracle tonight at Homestead. Your race leader, Andrew Miller, he's 26th in points. John Godfrey, he's 19th in the standings. Jim Glaude currently sits also 19th in the points, so he and Godfrey came in tied. Rodney Sullins, he is actually the highest of these guys in the point standings right now, 16th in points, but you look at your top 2 rows, there's nobody even remotely inside of the top 10, so a bit of a Hail Mary being thrown here tonight by some of these guys trying to get those max points, and more importantly, a checkered flag in the RTG Barebones Series. Green flag set to come back out. It's going to be 5 laps to go.
They got a good run. He's going to try to arc it in the corner. He's got to watch out. That 72 going to try to stay low. Both of them are clear. The 72 stays to the inside. The 47 drifts up.
Glaude trying to get the run off of 2. He'll get to the inside.
Andrew got loose off of turn 2.
But he's got the preferred line here through 3 and 4. Jim Glaude will try and pull the slide job. Miller drives it in deep. So does Glaude, who gets the exit off of 4. 72 gets a little loose, pushes up. It's going to be the 47.
Wreck,
I think
there's a wreck. Clear. There's a wreck in the back. That's it. Caution's out. And
I don't think they just took the caution.
I don't think they did.
Took it.
No, they didn't. They did not. It happened right behind. It happened right after they crossed the line. So this is the race back.
Stay with this battle as Glaude stays to the inside of Andrew Miller. Can Miller hang on? Glaude has to tuck in line there in the 72.
He's going to take his line away. He's going to take his line away.
Going to the top, trying to get that run. He's going to get a big run out of the corner. What's Miller going to do? Can he box him up there?
Nope.
Jim Glaude, half a car length's going to win.
That might have been the worst decision. Andrew should have stayed to the middle lane there.
And he didn't really move up to try and block the momentum of the 72 coming off of turn 4 either. Jim Glaude, half a car length, big move through 3 and 4. And it's now looking like Andrew Miller feels that the race actually did end under caution, but they got back to the line there. I'm not sure what's going on. Pace cars on the front straightaway. We're going to have to go back and look. We're going to have to look at the time that the caution lights came on as opposed to when the leader got to the start-finish line, because I think that both these drivers right now feel that they won this race.
I have no idea. I'm gonna go back and look at it now.
Go back and let's see. First off, what brought out the caution, and then we're going to go back to any camera angle we possibly can to try and figure out exactly when the lights came on around the track and where the leader was. So it's the wreck, the
No, no,
caution
no.
comes out
I'm
for
looking
the
at it.
62 of Ron Lucet.
I'm looking at it right now. The caution came out after the 2B cars went past the start finish line.
But that being said, it would be Jim Glaude who would be the winner of this race.
From the moment the yellow flag appears in the hand, the 47 had just crossed the line as the 72 was crossing the line.
Let's go on
so
board.
Right here, the 47 does appear in front, and so it seems like the 72 and the 47 would be the only cars that made it across the line before the caution, before the caution actually came out.
Watching here, look at the caution light, still green, still green, still green, and you can see right there, Miller was the leader. His nose, his splitter right there is touching the start-finish line, and you can clearly see the light is still green. If we drop back a couple of cars, drop back here to Jovan Anderson, Grant Wesley, there's where the caution lights come out, or go on, and you can clearly see, as you pointed out, Michael, 72 halfway across the start-finish line. 47 is completely across the start-finish line. So they would have raced it back to the line. And by that count, that means that the 72 of Jim Glaude has won this race. Let's go back to that battle through 3 and 4 because I'm with you. Costly mistake there by Andrew Miller running the bottom of the racetrack, yielding that top side to Jim Glaude.
I think they're still deciding because they're running around at 20 miles an hour right here, just trying to decide whether or not they took it or not.
I mean, if Andrew Miller feels that the race did not end under caution and they're racing back, does he go to that inside line? Almost seems like he wouldn't, right? I think the fact he went to the inside there, he felt that they actually weren't racing back to the checkered flag proverbially there. Otherwise, I think he would have elected the top.
Well, I'm assuming we're going to find out here soon because they're in turns 3 and 4, so they need to make a decision.
And they're picking up the pace car, actually.
Oh, that's right. Yes, they are. I forgot. I didn't think they were waiting for the pace car there. Well, from the looks of it, I guess they might give it to the 47.
Very interesting. We'll obviously have to get some clarification on just how it all was decided. Of course, race control decides this, the 2003 race control. White flag will be out this time, and Andrew Miller crosses the start-finish line as the leader. Jim Glaude in second. Andre Charest, John Godfrey, and Terry Bombard look like they're going to be the top 5. But we're still kind of with a big question mark as to who the winner of the race is officially going to be. Jovan Anderson right now is slated 6th, Grant Wesley 7th, Rodney Sullins, Jeremy Jeffries, who led the most laps here tonight, 19 in total, is 9th, and Frank Ribard in 10th. A lot of lap leaders here tonight as well. 19 for Jeremy Jeffries, 16 so far, and about to be 17 for Andrew Miller. 12 for Jeff Supta, 11 apiece for Jim Glaude and Grant Wesley, and then 10 laps led by Richard Martin. So a lot of double-digit lap leaders here this evening.
That's very true.
Andrew Miller, as we mentioned, he came into this race outside of the top 20 in the point standings, 26th in points to be exact.
I'm sure who we would talk to determine, like out of the staff, that would determine the winner of this.
And we'd have to talk with Prime, Jeffries, or Metallic, I believe, are the 3 sanctioning body admins of this series. But Andrew Miller, the starts he's had this season have been really good. We saw him a couple of weeks ago at Texas, got an 8th place run there, and then qualified 2nd, finished 4th last week at the Charlotte Roval. And here, at least unofficially, is going to take his first checkered flag of the season, I believe of his career here in the Barebones Racing Series. And it looks like it is official. The 47 is going to take this victory, and look at the congratulations here from the drivers. That's 94 laps, and even when we got to what appeared to be the race-ending caution, we still had question marks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to talk and see if we can't get maybe Metallica up here to clarify the winner for us.
Andrew Miller about to come around here onto the front straightaway, and he will burn it down at the Homestead Miami Speedway. What a call by Andrew Miller. Go all the way back to 2-3 cautions ago. Went with the right side tire strategy only. Stayed out for at least 2 of those late yellow flags. He was the control car, got really good launches. Felt it was track position over tires, and in the closing stages, that was exactly the case. Getting to burn it down here on the Homestead Miami front straightaway. Andrew Miller, first win of the season, the Barebones Racing Series, and I'm pretty certain first win of his Barebones Racing Series career. What a job well done for him. Is not certain if he's going to, like, he might be maybe thinking about parking that thing in victory lane. We'll see if he can find it here in the infield as he brings it down the pit lane. Oh no, we're gonna do some burnouts in the pit road as well, right in front of his pit box. Celebrate with the team. Well, let's show you the finishing results from tonight's thriller at Homestead. Basically gave you the top 10. Let's highlight the drivers that finished out the race, albeit not necessarily where they would have wanted to. Richard Martin, who had that late call to come to pit row for 4 fresh tires, worked his way up to 11th. Robbie Nisus in 12th. Dave Melson 13th. JT Mayhew in 14th. Cy Jones completes the top 15. Bob LaChance in 16th. Jeff Supta and Sean Prime, who were involved in that next to last caution, never gained that track position back. They finished in 17th and 18th. But for Sean Prime to finish on the lead lap after being as many as 5 laps down the early going of this race, certainly a great comeback for him. Ronald Lucet in 19th. Bobby Farrell going to complete the top 20. Then Larry Ingram, Glenn Harris, they were the rest of the drivers to finish. Saw Dante Ricky, he got the disqualification for the engine failure, dropping debris. He gets 23rd. Chuck McClure out of the race in 24th, also joined by Kelly Causey, Josh Metallic, Doug Cady, Dave Robbins, Brian Schilling, Ron Hagelin, and Andre Mahjong. Well, let's see if we could talk with a few of our podium finishers here tonight. It certainly looks like...
I was wondering if we could find an official, maybe Jeremy Jeffries or somebody to talk to real quick, get a little clarification on the end there, so we know if it's official.
No, we'll see if we can work on that. But before we do that, I mean, we certainly know that Andre Charest is going to be finishing in the 3rd spot. So let's see if we can dial him up. Hey, Andre, it's Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us? I'll give it another go here. Andre Charest, the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
I think he's trying there.
Give it one more go. Andre, you got a copy, man?
Yes,
I'm
here, yes.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. A wild one here tonight. A lot of varying strategies, whether it was fuel, it's most importantly,
Thank
those
you.
Goodyear
It's
tires.
my best result.
You started
Yes.
You started 14th. You bring it home in the 3rd position. I mean, how tough was it here tonight?
I had luck.
Obviously, a lot of different drivers with varying strategies. I mean, did you have a plan coming in, or did you have to adjust it as the race went on? We're having some radio communication problems
I was
here.
lucky. I was lucky. I passed through
All right, man. Well, that's heck of a race, man. There, good job finishing on 3rd place. That race was definitely fun to watch.
Give the opportunity, Andre. Anybody out there you'd like to thank? Andre Charest bringing it home in the third position. A great run for him here tonight. Congratulations on the great run there, Andre.
Thank you. It's my best result. I thank the organization. That's always a good race.
Definitely, as Andre Charest, as you heard from him, his best result of the season, third place here tonight. We're going to be talking with our top two in just a moment, but I believe that we do
Have
have,
Dante up here. Yep.
yes, we do have an RTG official here. So, Dante, we're just trying to get some clarification. We went back, we were looking at the replay, the timing of the caution, where the leaders were at the time. What was the deciding factor that has the 47, as we assume, as the winner of this race?
Yes, Seth and Mike, this was a very interesting situation we had here tonight. The 47 of Andrew Miller and the 72 of Jim Glaude were in a close battle near the end of the race, coming to what appears to be 5 laps to go, 4 laps to go. The yellow light comes on right at the moment that the 72 of Jim Glaude hits the start-finish line. Now, keep in mind, this game has been around for a long time, since 2003. If you put the replay back a frame before the yellow light comes on, the flagman begins to pick up the yellow flag in the flag stand in his hand, in his right hand. And at that moment in time, the 72 car, Jim Glaude, has not yet crossed the start-finish line. Therefore, effectively, being that he does take the caution and cannot race the number 47 of Andrew Miller back. At the same time, the pace car begins to move and accelerates up to 150 miles per hour. So,
But on the boosters, he did.
Exactly. At a very fast speed, basically indicating that none of the drivers are able to race the opponents back. So, a frame or two before the leader took the start-finish line, before that yellow light came on, that's really when the game puts the caution out. A frame or two before the yellow light comes on. So there's the deciding factor as to why we didn't race around for another lap.
All right, makes perfect sense. We appreciate that clarification there, Dante. Thank you very much.
You got it, Seth. Thanks, Mike. Good broadcast tonight, guys.
So much.
All right, so with that being said, let's get our second place finisher here tonight, Jim Glaude. I believe this is also, I think for all three of our podium finishers, this is their best finishes of the season. Hey, Jim, it's Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I do.
One
Man,
frame.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, I mean, this isn't even a super speedway, and it literally came down to a game of inches with the timing of that yellow flag. If you just had, as Michael said, just that extra couple of frames, he'd have been racing that 47 back to the start finish line. It certainly looked like you had something for him there in 3 and 4. I mean, how gutting is this? Does this give you still confidence? I mean, where are you at mentally after everything that just took place?
Well, that was wild. I don't know, man. The couple of wrecks that happened, the big one, somehow I got through both of those. And I thought, you know what? I'm up here. I just got to keep my head. And when all that crap started happening, it was hard to keep my head. I was just going, I thought I had it there. But then I thought, well, okay, it doesn't look like it came out. But you know what? Either way, it was a blast. To me, it was a win. Top 5's a win with this group.
Yeah, it was a heck of a race for you guys out there. You know, how did it start playing into strategy when you went from having a caution for a while to a couple of long green flag runs?
Well, you know, I got messed up because at one point there we pitted early, and then I ended up a lap down because the caution came out. And so I just had settle down and just work on getting back up. And then we had that other wreck, and I got through that, and I thought, okay, gave me a little bit of confidence that I was dealing with a lot less fast cars. Just had to not take myself out. But when it all started, it was just everybody rushing for the same real estate. And I thought, well, I'm taking the outside, you guys.
You know, obviously, we get the benefit up here in the booth of being able to look over the whole field, see who comes to pit road under what caution period, how many tires they take on. you're out there trying to get the best finish possible and then having to, on top of that, have to figure out the same thing. Who's got the better grip around you. Near the end of this race, we saw a lot of varying strategies, a lot of drivers staying out on older tires, some drivers coming to pit lane. I mean, were you able to keep track of just who to watch out for on those final restarts, who you had to keep at bay as far as those fresher tires?
No, I was just going to judge it by how, because I pitted late there at the end. So I had probably fresher tires than most of the guys that were in front of me. So I knew I was good there, but it's a tough track to pass. You pull down to go low. You think you got speed down there sometimes, and you just go to the back. So it's one of those things that you really got to wait for somebody to mess up and try to take advantage of it. And luckily, it went my way tonight. A couple of big wrecks, I got through unscathed and was able to put a good effort in there. But Andrew put in a good race tonight too. He was clean, fast. I knew when he was up there that I was going to have to definitely deal with him. But I'm glad he got a win. It's a long time coming from.
Obviously, we know that it's a pretty short season here, 10 regular season races, 5 playoff races. Uh, Obviously had to be on your mind there in the closing stages that a win could lock you into the playoffs, but with the solid second place run here tonight, what's the outlook for you trying to charge your way into a playoff position with the final few races left in the regular season?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't. I wasn't really planning on it. I I missed a few races because I had to work, so it kind of put me way behind where I should have been. So I just been coming with the mindset of trying to win. Got a new sponsor on with TNT Auto Parts. A couple of friends of mine, Brett and Mark Tupper out here in Maple Ridge, run a good shop here. Got a lot of good parts, cheap, and I thought I'd give them a go, and it's been good so far. Been helpful.
A great performance for you here tonight. So close to getting that elusive checkered flag, but a great job in terms of strategy, getting that track position and holding that track position in the closing stages at Homestead. Jim, before we let you go, we'll give you the opportunity to some thank yous and shout outs.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I love that you guys do this. It's great. I got family back east watching. My brother Junior, and hopefully my uncle Fred's out there. Like to say hi to them. Anybody else that's there. I want to thank RTG for putting this on. It's a great bunch of guys, and like you say, anytime you get a chance to run up front, it's exhilarating. It's a blast. I was talking to Andrew, and he was saying the same thing. He was still trying to catch his breath. So, um, without you guys and RTG putting this out, and now all the other drivers that come out to make it fun, kudos to everybody. Thanks.
Jim Glaude, your runner-up finisher here tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Once again, congratulations on a great run here tonight. Well done.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike. Seth. Good night.
And let's go down to victory lane. Hopefully, he has caught his breath to be able to talk with us. Let's talk with Andrew Miller. Andrew, it's Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, I do.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. I mean, what a run the last couple of weeks. You had that top 10 run at Texas a couple of weeks ago, top 5 run last week at the Charlotte Roval. We know you're good at the road courses, but what a strategy call here tonight. We saw you take right side tires with about 20 to go, then elected the track position over the tires, got some timely cautions. But we were skeptical up here in the booth of who exactly won this race. Were you just as skeptical if you'd actually won this race at that time when the caution came out, or did you know you had this thing in hand?
I had no idea, to be honest. I crossed the line, like, right at the instant I saw the yellow flag pop up on my screen. I was like, am I racing back or not? And there were some indications that were pointing to I had already taken it, so I started to ease up in the corner, and that's what allowed him to get to my outside. And yeah, he got me to the line there that time. So I was like, did I really just pull a Mark Martin Daytona 500 here? But game said otherwise, so I'll take it. But I was a little nervous there, like, right, like I felt like I lost it and then I gained it. So I don't know what to feel other than just happy that we looks like it's official. I'll take it either way, and
I'd say, yeah,
that
we
was fun.
definitely heard it official from Dante. And Andrew, what kind a win in this series here, even at Homestead, what does that mean to you personally?
Oh, geez. Me personally, I don't think I've ever won a race with that many starters. 31 guys took the green and, um, or eventually, yeah, got into that thing. So I think that is officially the most cars I've ever won against guys this competitive. A chaotic race and winning on FRN for the first time, I'm pretty sure. So it feels pretty darn cool, I will admit.
31 drivers, and we need to point out that Andrew won this race from the 26th position. So talk about your proverbial working from the back to the front. Now, Andrew, with this victory, obviously the criteria to get into the playoffs, be in the top 8 in the point standings or be in the top 16 with a victory. Right now, you're just outside of that window. Looks like you're 21st in points with the victory here tonight. So handful of races left here for the regular season. What's the goal for the 47 to get yourself into the postseason?
I'll see what I'll see what I can do from here. I mainly had my eyes on this. I think it was the triple bracket challenge that they're doing. I mainly just wanted to keep that top 27, so that I can just have some fun with that. But yeah, if I'm able to claw my way forward to 16th, then that'd be even better. I'll just keep doing my best. See if I can work my way up there. That's gonna take some work knowing these guys. So we'll see what happens. But hey, a win's a win in this series. I'll take it no matter what.
Definitely is a win. First win of your career in the Barebones Racing Series. Congratulations. Again, heck of a call, and it panned out for you. Before we let you go and continue your celebration, we'll let you do some victory lane thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Sounds good. Well, Seth and Michael, thank you guys for putting on this stream. Really cool what you guys are doing. Jaden, I love you lots. Good having you here. Andy, Lance, Jamie, in the group chat. What's up? Mom and Dad, if you ever watch this. Oh boy. Of course, Powerade on the car. Thank you, Seth, also for painting that scheme a while back. Um, Yeah, and of course RTG for just putting on a phenomenal league, a lot of great series, and just glad to be a part of it.
Andrew Miller, an exciting victory here tonight at Homestead as he got to burn it down in front of these Florida fans and now sets his sights on not only maybe making it into the playoffs, but also, as he mentioned, that the race within the race, that triple bracket challenge. Best of luck in that, Andrew. Go and enjoy this victory. Well done.
Thank you, my man. You guys take it easy.
Well, we talked here tonight, Michael, about basically the big three, the drivers that had already gone to victory lane. We're up there towards the top of the point standings. Grant Wesley, Sean Prime, Jeremy Jeffries. We threw Jeff Supta into that mix as well. Little did we know we were going to have, and I don't think this is too far-fetched, a bit of an underdog story here tonight. Surviving the carnage, playing the strategy, and Andrew Miller now throws his name into the hat of possibly being one of those contenders for the championship by the end of this regular season.
Heck yeah, it was good race, good strategy, right place, right time. Heck of a call. Made it exciting there too at the end.
And obviously, we've got some interesting tracks coming up here for the remainder of the regular season. RTG Motor Speedway. We've seen that track before here on FRN. You got Kitchen Creek that's coming up. I've heard of that track. I don't exactly recall just
Is
all
it
the fundamentals of
is
it.
it like a kitchen sink?
It's I don't know. I mean, it could be everything but the kitchen sink for all we know. Martinsville, that'll be an interesting one, and then they cap things off with the regular season at Phoenix. So some tough tracks coming up. But looking at a few of these in terms of RTG Motor Speedway, Martinsville, a big thing that jumps out to me is track position, and we ended up seeing that kind of strategy play out here tonight. So could be a couple more underdog stories before we end up putting that playoff grid together.
It's very true, and it's going to be exciting to to watch and see.
Is indeed. Well, an interesting one here tonight, one that kind of had us all just waiting with bated breath to see what the official word was, but we do know that Andrew Miller is the winner of tonight's race at Homestead Miami Speedway, his first win in the RTG Barebones Racing Series. If you haven't had your fill of RTG racing, we've got on Wednesday night the Aero 88 Series. They'll be taking to Kentucky Speedway for some more mile and a half action, and then Thursday night, The RTG Tally Challenge continues on their regular season. Only a handful of races left before we determine that playoff grid for season 57. So be sure to tune in to those races coming up here in the middle of the week. But Michael, a thriller here tonight, one that was certainly worth waiting around to the end to observe. And I appreciate you joining me up in the booth.
No problem. It's always fun to be here.
Once again, thanks to everybody that tuned in here tonight. We hope you guys enjoyed our coverage. Once again, congratulations to Andrew Miller, your winner here tonight in the RTG Barebones Racing Series. For Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night, folks, as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.